Business news, the cold days are coming to an end, but winter has left its mark on our potatoes. Black frost has decimated the production of potatoes and other vegetables such as peppers across the country. This shortage means that consumers should prepare to pay more for potatoes soon. Let's find out what the actual impact of this shortage will be for consumers and the food basket. The CEO of Potatoes South Africa, Willie Jacobs, joins us now live to speak on this. Good morning, Willie. Thank you very much for joining us on ENCA. Perhaps can we start with the production challenges that farmers are faced with during this black frost season?
Yeah, good morning. Thank you. About 2 months ago, I had a conversation with Anli on the same station, explaining the situation with regards to the black frost. And I think what we need to understand is it's a very short-term seasonal activity, but it's very damaging to the specific farmers in production. So this year was probably one of the most intense seasons that we had. And it was over a period of 5 days. And what we need to notice and what we need to understand is those 5 days is basically 5 days out of a South African production season of potatoes of 365 days. So although certain farmers had serious damage and quite big losses, I want to make sure that we understand that in South Africa, the stock levels are not to such an extent that we need to be concerned about not having potatoes available in the country. I'm concerned about certain of the media hype that's being created around stock shortages and those type of things. And I think it's necessary for the public to understand what the current situation looks like.
Okay, so what does it look like? I mean, is it that bad that we'll have shortages that could lead to price hikes?
Okay, so typically this time of the year is marked by seasonal changes where the first part of the Limpopo season comes into production and delivery, and it switches over to the second part of Limpopo and then from there on to other parts of South Africa. And in the switch, there's usually a short period of time that there's a shortage if you have a look at the history of our production as well. This time it will be escalated a little bit, but more on the larger size potatoes, not on the smaller and the small medium sizes. So we will see increased numbers of smaller potatoes coming to the market. The larger ones that usually goes to the processors will be less available, and that price might be more affected than anything else in the potato industry.
So it could affect the average consumer's grocery bill?
It will definitely have an effect on that. We need to understand that it's probably going to be between a 3 and a 6 weeks period that it will have an effect. I know that unfortunately some of the retailers will misuse the opportunity to increase their prices on the retail floors exceptionally, and I think we need to be attentive to that. It's not necessary for that to happen. Be on the lookout for smaller and small medium potatoes if you really want to make sure that you don't buy expensive potatoes for yourself in this next few weeks. But I think the reality of the situation is that we should not see such a shortage that will necessitate somebody to buy potatoes at excessive prices.
Okay, but I mean, we do know that potatoes, I mean, are used on a number of prepared foods. I mean, like pre-packed chips, for example, and other types of frozen products. Could this have an affordability and availability impact on such prepared foods?
I think if you compare South Africa with the rest of the world in the processing space only has got one season that they plant and one season that they harvest. The rest of the time they store their products, whether it's in a frozen format or whether it's in a pre-processed format. So South Africa has got 365 days of potatoes available. That means that our processors also got used to this type of model. In this case, there's going to be some difficulty for them to procure the product that they need to stay in the market continuously. We have spoken to our larger processors. They are battling to get the right type of product available. There might be gaps in their production cycle, but the reality is that you have got the ability to store, process, and to pack over longer periods of time if you're in the processing space. So again, I would urge the communities and the consumers not to be concerned about the actual shortage of stock in a short period of time.
Okay, so in the short period of time, there won't be that much of a shortage, but the certain sizes of potatoes would change. There'll be more the smaller size, as you said, not the bigger size. And how long can we expect this to last?
Look, the frost was 5 days. Unfortunately, in the production cycle of potatoes, that has got an impact for farmers that needs to lift of about 3 to 6 weeks. It depends on, how the product matured, what the level of damage were, and what the other cycle of the production looks like. We have anticipated that this let's call it the shortage on the large potatoes would have started middle of August already, but it's already end of August and we haven't actually seen a reduction in that stock levels on the markets. The market still has got about 2 days of stock on a daily basis left. And then we expect it to end by middle towards end of September, when the next cycle of product comes in and the new seasons as well. So I would anticipate us around the first week of October to start coming back into the normal cycle again.
Okay, thank you very much for your time this morning. Willie Jacobs, the CEO of the industry organization Potatoes SA, and just setting our minds to rest. There's no need to panic, really, or not to worry about. There's not anticipating a big shortage of the much-loved potato. Now, let's have a quick look at your indicators.